trying to build almost all of the technology that these people are building in this film is like jumping off of a cliff into the abyss with no parachute in hopes that it works, because life would be better for everyone if it did. Nobody wants to pull all-nighters. Nobody wants to be in pain making things. But I think that's sometimes necessary for doing things that are really rare and great. The goal of our company is to make the best science and technology films so that we can make the best science fiction films. We get research from one and inspired by the other. Hi, my name is Jason. I'm the founder and director of Story Company, and I'm here to talk about my latest frontier film called Too Cheap to Meter. Ultimately, our goal is to make the next era of great sci-fi movies that explore the frontier. Frontier films are a new kind of film where we go to the frontier, or the edge of science and technology in a given domain or field, and explore it and try to mainly just give it a definition. For me, before I worked in the space industry, I had no clue that that was even a thing I could really do, or like what the space industry looks like today. And so that was our first frontier film, was defining what new space is. With each frontier, it feels like a endless sort of rabbit hole of opportunity. Our goal with these films is to clearly present that so that you can go deeper on the things that interest you. A big part of what we see our job at Story Company is to tell the stories of abundance and innovation in the name of making humanity more abundant and prosperous and great. I think we're at a dire turning point where if we don't get that right, we'll continue to stifle our growth and threaten our future. I don't think we have enough people with cameras filming incredible things happening for the first time. That's why we show up and try to film things in the highest resolution and the highest quality in the most cinematic way. Energy is probably the single most important lever that we can pull as a species to make life better, more abundant, and prosperous for everyone. I think in that context, energy was the obvious second frontier film to do. We don't have time to, so I think it's just better to switch to other B-roll, and in the future we can try that.
Okay.
The night before we released the trailer for the film, we changed the name of it. Originally, the film's title was Energy Abundance, which is rather obvious. It's a very bad name. I'm not good at naming things. It was like one of those aha moments as soon as we remembered it, that Too Cheap to Meter was obviously the right name for this. It comes from a speech that the Atomic Energy Commission director Louis Strauss said, I think like the 50s, where he basically said that one day we'll have power and energy too cheap to meter.
Our children will enjoy electrical energy too cheap to meter.
That phrase is one of those phrases that in the energy industry has come to mean so much to people working in it. It's like the dream, the goalpost. One inspiration point for me in making this film was trying to separate the argument for energy abundance and climate change. The argument that the film is trying to make is that, hey, climate change is an engineering problem. We've opened the Pandora's box that is climate change. We cannot go back. The future is going to look like solving that problem rather than limiting our growth and our consumption as a result of it. And my perspective isn't unique. I mean, this is why we talk to some of the builders and the innovators in the film who are working to build solutions to that problem. So we have Casey Hanmer, who is a double PhD and the CEO and founder of Terraform Industries. We have Doug Bernauer, who used to be at SpaceX and now is the CEO of Radiant. We have Julia Dewall and Jordan Bramble. They're the co-founders of Antares. We have JC Batesh, who is the CEO and founder of Fuse. We have Zach Dell and Justin Lopez. They're the co-founders of Base Power. We have Jay Storrs Hall. He's the author of Where's My Flying Car and is just a crazy thinker and innovator. We have Isaiah Taylor, who is the CEO and founder of Valor Atomics, and many others. I think it's worth noting that there's a lot of founders in this movie. It's a lot of big capitalism energy, which I think is kind of the point with energy. I felt that mostly having founders and people who have a real business stake in solving these problems were the right people to talk to. A big thing that this film argues for is this idea of permissionless innovation, especially with nuclear startups. The problem with nuclear in a lot of ways is that you can't turn on new small development reactors in the desert, even when it would be far away and you could do it in a way that wouldn't hurt people. The way that the regulatory environment is set up in the United States is that you just can't do it. It takes years. So Valor's response to that was like, fuck it, let's go to the Philippines and turn one on there. There's a difference between nuclear weapons and nuclear energy, even though it's got the same word and some of the same processes going on inside, they're very, very different things. And on principle, it's a good idea to keep things safe. But if you go look at what's happening with a lot of these innovative companies and teams, it's gone so far beyond the point of safety, and it's just into bureaucracy and red tape and is hurting the state of innovation today. You know, I worry a lot that frontier films aren't good enough and that they're boring or they're not interesting. And I think the thing that keeps me up late at night and wakes me up early in the morning is trying to crack the code on how we can make really interesting, inspiring stories about people building the future that isn't just optimism slop. Because I deeply believe that telling these stories is really important to the future. As far as I can see, there's no clear menu of these frontiers and disciplines to study and research and consider spending their lives pushing the boundary of. And that's really the point of frontier films. And it's really painful pushing our team to do them too. Nobody wants to pull all-nighters. Nobody wants to be in pain making things. But I think, you know, that's sometimes necessary for doing things that are really rare and great. I think one of my favorite parts about making frontier films is getting to work with our incredible composer, Sister, who is not my sister, but his artist name is Sister, who makes this incredible music and somehow captures the sound and the vibe and the mood so well in his originally composed music. I don't know how to describe it. Like I get chills thinking about it. It's so good. And it's really cool to know that every song that you hear in the film is tailor-made for the film. I'm new to running a company. I've always been like the solo guy.
So I think the plan is that, well, I think we're gonna make a lot of movies here.
And it's just fully empty. Just kidding, there's like a pile of here.
And so like learning to work with people, learning to like build a culture in a team is the most fun and hard thing in the world, but it's really gratifying because, you know, it really is a team sport.
You're eventually going to have an atmosphere you can breathe. Generations of builders will build this.
It's insane, I think.
And cut. That's a wrap on the movie, everybody. Thank you.
It's really hard to overstate how scary what I think some of these people are doing is. Trying to build almost all of the technology that these people are building in this film is like jumping off of a cliff into the abyss with no parachute. There's no backup plan, there's no guarantee that it works, there's no magical eagle from Lord of the Rings to catch you and save you. Success is not likely and it's not guaranteed. And that's where we see frontier films, is that it's our job to film these people re-entering the atmosphere at 10,000 miles an hour. Either they burn up and turn into a million little pieces, or they stick the landing, and it changes everything for everybody.